Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Damn. This is the culmination of everyone's support for my channel for the past 1 year, and I am truly thankful. Dislyte, Daddy, free to nope, capital P. Okay, so I'm not sure what's in this gift code just yet, but I would really like to sincerely thank everyone watching my videos since like the past 1 year or so, or from whenever you guys started watching my videos, right? I am very, very thankful that we finally have reached this point. Let's check out what's in the contents. 3, 2, 1. 30 Nexus crystals. Congrats on 15% of your gold record. Anyway, this code is only available to the first 80,000 of you guys who sign up for it, or rather who apply the code. So pretty much first come first serve, and yes, do spread the word a little bit. 80,000 codes limit. Hope you guys like it. But wait, there is more. Okay, so there is a little bit more that I would like to cover for this video in terms of like just free rewards. So if you do not already know, there is currently a DislyteRockOn Shorts contest. And for all participants, right, it doesn't matter if you're top 10, you're top 30 or whatever, every single participant who participates in this Shorts contest will receive 1,000 Nexus Crystals minimally. So I'll put the link down in the descriptions below. It's going to be a lot easier for you to understand what you need to do. Essentially, all you need to do is to create shorts on your own TikTok account, share it, and that's it. That's instantly 1,000 Nexus Crystals. So you just need to apply and register, and they're going to funnel that 1,000 Nexus Crystals into your account. So that's like the easiest way for you to get like a much better crystal reward than this. Okay, but that's it for the introduction. Let's move on with the rest of today's video. Okay, so let's begin today's video. You already know what we're going to talk about. I'm going to provide you with both the TLDR and the full version itself. So the TLDR is to just focus your 6 stars on your DPS espers, and the rest of your supports, or at least like most of the supports in this game, will do very well at 5 stars. Like there are some endgame players right now who still have 5-star support espers for some reason. So that's how efficient they can be. And now let's move on to the non-TLDR version. And of course, I apologize to all the veterans out there who watch this video just for the code. But I really appreciate it if you watch throughout to the end and maybe leave some feedback at the bottom as well if you agree or disagree with some of the points, so that's how the new players can learn from a little bit more exposure with other players, for example. Okay, so let's start off with the espers that we can obtain at the start. And I say this with certainty because these are the espers that you're going to get based on the new beginner's experience. So there is Tangshan or Liling, depending on whoever that you luck out on, but both of them are going to be relatively the same. And there is also going to be Mona, who is guaranteed. There is Jiangman, who is also guaranteed if you selected her after beating chapter 1-13. There is also going to be the twins after about 5 days of playing. There is going to be Changpu and Berenice or Bereniki from the summons itself. And there is Bryn. So all these rare espers, they are going to be like with almost 99.99% certainty that you're going to get them. Okay, so these are the espers that you get at the start. And why I say that it's very important that you focus your 6-star materials on your DPS espers and not your support is, generally speaking, stats are much more important on your DPS espers than they are on your support espers. And the reason for that, so just take a look at one of my DPS espers, let's say Mona for example, right? So you're going to want to build her with a lot of attack power, you're going to want to have to build her with a lot of crit rate, but by doing so, you're going to forego some very crucial stats like your HP for example, or your defense. And the only way for you to make up for the missing stats here, which will allow you to have more survivability and of course to have like more damage output and all that, is to just raise the esper to 6 stars. By unlocking 6 stars, you're going to unlock more stats, and therefore your equipments can scale off according to your base stats more effectively. So for example, I have some equipments here that would grant me a little bit of HP percentage. Let me just try to find something. Okay, we found it. Defense percentage plus 12%. Okay, so this 12% defense bonus actually scales according to my base defense, and my base defense is 860. So if my base defense goes up because I raise her to 6 stars, that is going to increase the efficacy of my equipment by providing me more base stats as well. So this is super important, especially for your DPS espers, because you're going to focus more on offensive stats like attack percentages, here as well, crit rate or crit damage. I'll discuss this in another video, but you're not going to focus on like HP percentage or defense percentage on them, at least not for the start. As compared to, let's say, one of our support espers like Changpu for example, she is going to naturally have a lot of HP because she don't really need to have attack. And okay, I know Changpu is a different story because she heals according to her attack percentage, right? But let's just assume that we do not really care too much about that factor of her kit, which is legit true. You don't really care too much about her attack. Most of the supports in this game just need HP and they need defense. And the thing is, if they are at 5 stars with a focus on such equipment, right? Let's say we have HP percentage here, we have HP percentage here, and okay, maybe speed as well. So with such focus, you don't really need to raise them to 6 stars because they don't need the extra stats to survive. They are going to survive very well at 5 stars because your equipment is going to carry them in that sense. You do not need so much base stats because you are already focusing so much on their tankiness. So that's the general rule of thumb as to why DPS espers need the 6 stars more urgently than your support espers. But there are of course exceptions to the rule. So for example, we have espers like Clara, for example, right? So the reason why Clara is a little bit different, even though you're going to build her super tanky, is because her healing, or at least her first skill healing, heals based on her own max HP. So the higher your max HP, the bigger her healing is going to be. So this is one example. Ahmed is also another example, right? So let's take a look at Ahmed. His healing is based on his own max HP and even his third skill as well. So you want to build him with a lot of max HP, which means you might want to raise him to 6 stars. But this is not exactly that recommended in my opinion. Because like I said, you will not have a lot of 6-star material for you to just squander onto your supports at the start. And you don't really need to have such massive healings at the start as well. So I think it is most important that you focus on your main team. And when I talked about my main team, let me show you what I mean. So this is what your main team might look like. You will have Longmian here for more controls. You have both the twins here because their synergy is just epic, right? And we have Jiangman as well, and we have Changpu for the healing. So this, I'm just going to show you one run and how this is supposed to look like. I like how this says welcome back, by the way. Okay, so this is how your main team should work. We have a controller here, we have like healing, immunity, all that kind of stuff, and we have like just a lot of control and the rest goes into DPS. What you will notice is, for the most part, our tanks or our controllers, our support espers, they are not going to take a lot of damage. The only espers who will take a lot of damage is going to be the Black Twin here, this esper over here, and Jiangman, because they are both offensive espers. Alright, so that's the end of wave 1, basically. And it is very important that your DPS espers has the stats. If not, like for example, the Black Twin, he got hit earlier on, right? He might have lost a lot of essential HP or he might even have died. So it's very important that you raise him to 6 stars so that he's able to tank that one extra hit or something like that, so that your healers can just get him up to speed. So this is the main team that you might want to focus on. Of course, you might not have Longmian depending on how lucky you are in terms of your summoning, which you probably get a copy of Longmian just because of how many summons you have at the start. But if you do not have a Longmian, you can go for a Pritzker who does not have a usable lead, which means you can just like swap these espers around, like use the Black Twin, right, as a leader for more crit rate, or you can use any other control esper, or you can use any other support. It is completely fine. Alright, so this is the team, and let's take a look at the stats of this run itself, so that I can show you who is dealing damage over here, right? So as you can see, it is just these two espers who are dealing damage. So these are the first two espers that you should prioritize to 6 stars. The Black Twin is going to be super useful for not just story content, not just the tower content, but also Chronos. And Jiangman, she's just epic in like most content, well, except for Chronos. And as for the other espers here, you notice that we only have one healer, right? But yet at the same time, these two espers, Longmian and Xie Yuzhi, who is the White Twin, it is also okay for you to keep them at 5 stars because they are controller espers. Now the thing about controller espers is that they are built almost similarly to your supports, or like your buffers and your healers, for example. So let's do a quick comparison between the different kinds of stats of Changpu and the White Twin. So for Changpu, we are just giving her a lot of HP and a lot of speed. That's it. But if you're talking about controller espers like the White Twin, for example, we are also giving him a lot of HP. We are also giving him a lot of speed. But as you can see, it is less than Changpu. And the reason for that is a lot of our stats are going into accuracy. And accuracy is extremely important in order for you to land like your AP controls or your stuns on your second skill or more AP controls on your first skill. And the same goes for Longmian as well. Let's take a look at Longmian. So Longmian is also another controller esper, and he's also going to be built with a lot of HP, a lot of speed, and accuracy. So knowing this is why your controllers, your supports, your healers, your buffers, they do not need to be at 6 stars. They can work effectively at 5 stars because their equipment is going to promote their sustainability on its own, naturally. Now, in furtherance to the Black Twin and Jiangman, there is also another esper that you might want to prioritize to 6 stars afterwards. And I say afterwards because you have a little bit of time to do so. You have, in fact, 1 entire month to do so. And what I'm talking about is either Tangxuan or Liling, because you have one of those events that lasts for a period of 1 month where you're supposed to raise these espers to 6 stars, raise them to Ascension 5, a lot of stuff, in order for you to obtain the legendary ability mod, which is like super freaking crucial. So these will be the 3 espers that you will need to get to 6 stars. And apart from these 3, you can also try to focus on some of the more OP DPS espers. For example, we have Gaius, who is probably one of the best DPS espers in this game right now. Same goes for Leora as well. She's also very powerful, especially for early game players as well. And another worthy mention is definitely going to be Xiao In. So a lot of players are going to agree that Xiao In is probably one of the best espers to raise to 6 stars at the start, solely because he is freaking powerful in Chronos, which is a Ritual Miracle boss. I'm not going to go into detail about why he is so good, but just know that Chronos is probably the main Ritual Miracle that you need to farm for like the first 3 months of the game. So if you go to Excursion and then you go to Ritual Miracle, you notice that we have one boss who is called Chronos over here, we have Apep and we have Fafnir as well. The main boss should be Chronos, especially for gearing up your team at the start of the game. And the reason for that is because this boss drops the War Equipment set, which increases your attack power by 30%, excellent for your DPS espers, and it also drops the Wind Equipment set, which increases your speed by 25%, which is really good for all kinds of espers. You have your supports, your controllers, even your DPS espers. Most of these espers will need speed. And of course on top of that, they also drop the Growth Equipment piece, which increases your HP by 25%, and also the Stone Vein Equipment piece, which increases your defense by 25%. And of course, let's not forget that it also drops the Recurve Equipment set, which increases your accuracy, very essential for your controlling espers as well. So Chronos is definitely by far the best boss that I would highly recommend you focus on at the start of the game. So I hope that was clear, and if you have any other questions, leave it down in the comment section below. But I want to move on to the next point, which is how would you use the Divine Synthesis pod? It is just sitting there. A lot of you guys don't even know it exists. But what can you do with this? Now, there is one main issue with the Divine Synthesis pod. Okay, or rather, there are two main issues. So the first main issue is that it caps your esper at level 50. So even if you have level 60 espers over here, it will not raise those espers in the bottom to past level 50. So this is only useful if you want to have espers raised all the way to level 50 and you do not need them to be beyond that. So we just talked about this, and the only espers that should belong here are not your DPS espers because they need to be at 6 stars. And instead, the espers that would do very well in the Divine Synthesis pod are your supports, your controllers, your healers, your buffers. So as you can see here, all the espers that I have listed here, they are all supports, they are all controllers, they are all healers, they are all buffers as well, debuffers, all that kind of stuff. And it's okay if you do not know what these espers do just yet, just know that they are all fitting into those roles. Now I mentioned that there was a second issue to this, and that second issue is that this Divine Synthesis pod actually raises your level to 50, but it doesn't actually increase your Ascension levels. And what are Ascension levels? So if you take a look at your growth here, for example, there is the Advancement, there is Resonance, and there is Ascension. Now, Esper Ascensions are an important part of an Esper's development. And most primarily, we are talking about Ascension 3, the third phase. And the reason why this is the case is because it empowers one of your existing skills to have an extra effect or to maybe deal more damage or something like that, lend more debuffs, that kind of stuff. So it is very important for most espers in this game. It is almost essential. So knowing that the Divine Synthesis pod doesn't actually raise your Ascension levels, it only raises your espers levels. What should be important to your decision on who goes into the Divine Synthesis pod is, of course, number 1, should the esper be beyond level 50? If not, okay, they might fit here. And number 2, does the esper need the third ascension or not? Or is she or he able to perform really well at just no ascensions, for example? So these are the two things that you need to think about when you're putting an esper into a Divine Synthesis pod. So 8 of these espers are examples of espers that do not really need the third ascension. So let's take a look at why this is the case. Now we are taking a look at Longmian right here, and he's also one of those espers. And the reason why this is probably not the case is because on Ascension, right, he gains a new effect, which is over here. When they are afflicted with speed down, you double the AP reduction on this skill, which is not essential. Because this skill already has an AP reduction, and he already has a freeze on his third skill. So this is not going to impact him all that much. It is going to be useful eventually, but it's not going to be like you need it ASAP. Because this is going to cost you some materials as well, which you do not have. Or at least you do not have in abundance. So another example that will make your jaws drop is going to be Clara, of course. So let's take a look at Clara's Ascension, and what she actually does on Ascension is she still heals, but right now, she provides a shield based on the excess healing done, which is useful, but it is not essential at all. And yes, this is a little bit more protection, but like I said, it is not needed because the healing in itself is going to be good enough. And of course, maybe one more example, let's take a look at Alice. So the reason why you might not need her at her third phase Ascension is because all that she really gains from her Ascension is an extra speed buff, which you may not need at the start of the game because you don't really need so much turn advantage. You're going to do really well with your basic equipment. The speed up is more for fine-tuning longer fights. So that is how the Divine Synthesis pod should be used, and of course if you're past mid-game, you're probably never ever going to touch this ever again. But of course things could change if they eventually decide to raise your Ascension levels within the Divine Synthesis pod as well, which I think is actually quite important. So that's it for this video. I just want to go through a really quick overview on who you should prioritize for your first 6 stars, and who should you keep at level 50 and 5 stars. And of course, how should you effectively use the Divine Synthesis pod for early gamers. Alright, so with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's content. If you did, don't forget to leave a thumbs up, it really helps the channel, and subscribe for more Dislyte content. Now with that said, this has been Dairy Free to Play, and as always, I will see you in the next video.